Hi everyone, this is Lee. In this video, I'm going to share real stories from 5 test takers who follow my channel and replied to my emails. Let me quickly introduce them. First, there's Fabian. He scored 5.5 overall and he was preparing for a master's degree. Then there's Clemens, who also scored 5.5 overall, but he did it after just 5 days of focused preparation. Next is Tui, who achieved 6.0 in reading, even though the other sections were not as strong. We also have Deyes, who scored 5.0 overall for a business internship or exchange program in Canada. And finally, there's Adam, who scored 6.0 in writing and 5.5 in the other sections. So in this video, we're going to look at 3 things. First, their overall preparation plans. Second, their section strategies and test day tactics. And third, their mindset and what they would do differently. If you're aiming for a 5.0 to 5.5 score, these are realistic examples that you can learn from. Okay, first, the overall preparation plans. Let's start with their overall preparation plans. Fabian, it was 1 month full-time. Fabian's scores were 6 in reading, 5.5 in listening, 5 in writing, and 4.5 in speaking for an overall score of 5.5. He actually took 1 full month of vacation just to prepare for the TOEFL. During the first week, his goal was to understand the structure of the exam and the timing and to find reliable preparation sources. He wrote, "My main goal was to understand the structure of the exam. This is when I found your YouTube channel and the ETS materials. Your TRAP mini mock guide was especially helpful." During the second week, he started practicing all sections under official timing using my materials, free ETS materials, and TST prep. His first ETS mock gave him an overall score of 4.5, and his writing score was only 2.0. After that, he shifted his preparation heavily toward writing and speaking. For Clemens, it was 5 days, 3 graded mock tests from ETS. Clemens ended up with 6 in reading, 5.5 in listening, 5 in speaking, and 5 in writing for an overall score of 5.5. His preparation was very short. He told me, "I had 5 days of focused preparation, studying around 3 to 4 hours each day. I purchased the package that included 3 graded mock tests from the ETS website. He mainly used my channel to understand recurring task patterns and the scoring criteria, especially for speaking and writing." For Tui, her strength was in reading. Tui's key result was 6.0 in reading. She used ETS materials and built a very specific strategy for complete the words, which we'll talk about in a moment. For Deyes, it took him 1 month with mixed tools. Deyes scored 5 in reading, 5 in listening, 5 in speaking, and 4 in writing, which gave him an overall score of 5.0, enough for a business internship or exchange program in Canada. He prepared for exactly 1 month. He wrote, "It took me exactly 1 month to prepare for the TOEFL. Besides study.com, which I'm definitely not recommending, that's his words, I watched YouTube content from TOEFL with Yuva, is it Juva or Yuva, and practiced with TST prep mock tests." Adam had a very strong writing score. Adam scored 6.0 in writing and 5.5 in the other sections. He used platforms like Test Glider and my videos and a lot of AI-assisted practice. If you're taking the new TOEFL 2026 and want extra practice, timing, and scoring guides and updates as we collect more real results, there's a link below this video. Fill out the short form and I'll send them to you. All right, now let's talk about section strategies and test day tactics. In the reading section, Fabian spent his first week working slowly and carefully with ETS materials and the TRAP mini mock PDF from me. His goal was to understand the sections and the traps before worrying about timing. Clemens mentioned something interesting about who the question is really about. In his test, he said, The email we had to analyze was written by person X and addressed to person Y. However, the questions focused on person Y. So he had to infer who Y is and what we can conclude about that person, not about the person who wrote the email. That's something that's easy to miss under time pressure. Tui used a very specific strategy for complete the words. She wrote, I skipped the words I could not get at first. I focused on completing the announcement and academic passages first. And then I came back to the unanswered words. In the end, there was only one word I could not guess. So the key idea is simple. Don't get stuck on one word. Move on and come back later. Aran also talked about the complete the words section in vocabulary. He said that if he could improve something, he would learn more advanced vocabulary because he couldn't complete some of the blanks in that section. So once your timing is under control, vocabulary still matters. Diaz also noticed a platform mismatch. He said that on study.com, the reading section, reading, listening, and writing tasks were completely different from what I encountered in the TOEFL. So you still have to have good judgment and look at the ETS free mock tests. You can compare the materials with the test platforms that you're using. For the listening section, from week 2 onward, Fabian practiced all sections under timing using ETS and TST prep materials, and he ended up with 5.5 in listening. Clemens also scored 5.5 in listening. At the higher levels, listening can be very sensitive. Sometimes one wrong exercise can drop you from 6.0 to 5.5. Diaz shared 2 concrete tactics. First, he separated what each speaker said. He explained that the strategy of separating what the woman said and what the man said was really helpful. Second, for longer academic talks, he created a timeline with keywords. He said, for long academic talks, I started drawing a timeline, and below that, I wrote keywords. If the talk was about sea life and they emphasized sharks, I wrote shark and then drew arrows to characteristics and functions and how it related to other topics. So he wasn't writing full sentences. He was just capturing structure and keywords. All right, for the speaking section, Fabian practiced a clear response structure every day. He said, I followed the response structure you recommend: opinion, explanation, and example. I practiced this structure daily. In every interaction I had in English, I tried to organize my responses using that structure, especially when conversations turned to preferences. So he wasn't just practicing in mock tests, he used the structure in real conversations as well. Adam recommended practicing speaking every day, even if you don't have a partner. He said, if there's no one to practice with, and that was exactly my case, I would recommend doing it with ChatGPT. The Plus version allows longer spoken conversations. Daily speaking practice, even with AI, helped him reach 5.5 in speaking. Diaz believed that pronunciation was the key factor in his speaking score. He said he took very long pauses and sometimes struggled with vocabulary. He even mentioned making pauses of 3 to 5 seconds in the interview questions and repeating fillers like and but he still believed pronunciation and his intonation helped him. He said his pronunciation was quite similar to a native speaker. Even with pauses and fillers, he still got 5.0 in speaking. So the takeaway here is that clear pronunciation, good intonation, and a simple structure can still get you around 5.0, even if you don't sound perfectly fluent. Now for the writing section. Fabian's writing score improved dramatically. His first ETS mock test gave him 2.0 in writing. After I told him that the built sentence section was the main issue, he focused heavily on improving that part of the writing test. He said, I focused heavily on improving writing. I used your videos, analyzing the emails and academic discussion tasks. And I also practiced a lot using ChatGPT to write frequently and receive grammar corrections. He also mentioned one of my writing videos. He said, new TOEFL writing, how to get 6, 5.55, or 4.5 was crucial. It helped me understand what the AI evaluator is actually looking for. Even if what you write is logical, the evaluation still requires you to demonstrate certain specific elements. By test date, his writing score reached 5.0. Clemens also scored 5.0 in writing. Again, he highlighted the importance of understanding recurring task patterns and the scoring criteria, especially for speaking and writing. Aram noticed something interesting about platform scores versus real TOEFL scores. On TestGlider, he said, I've never scored more than 5 on TestGlider's writing section. However, I received 6 at the actual TOEFL. He also said the same thing happened with his speaking scores. Sometimes the platform scores made him feel discouraged. He wrote, sometimes I found myself demotivated by the grades on TestGlider and felt like I wasn't making any progress. So platform scores can sometimes be lower than the real TOEFL scores, especially for speaking and writing. Dayas also had 4.0 in writing, and he noticed that the tasks on study.com were quite different from the real exam. Again, you have to verify yourself. This is his words. This shows that you have to be careful and really, no matter what kind of test platform that you're using, check against the official sample mock tests from ETS. There are 7 of them. Okay. Now, the last part, mindset and what they would do differently if they were to take the exam again. Fabian said that if he could go back to the beginning, he would start practicing speaking and writing earlier. He wrote, if I could go back to day 1, I would start practicing writing earlier and more consistently. I would also recommend that first-time test takers begin practicing speaking and writing from the start, even if it's just a little every day. He also realized something about the AI scoring system. Before preparing for the exam, he assumed that writing something logical and coherent would be enough. But during preparation, he realized that the scoring system expects very specific signals that like what we talked about earlier. And understanding that earlier would have saved him time. Alam also reflected on preparation tools and platforms. About YouTube, he wrote, again, that's his words, some individuals on YouTube bombard their audience with paid mock tests or websites, and it seems like their primary objective is to earn money rather than to train people. Your channel does not do this. I felt your genuine support in your videos and your intention to teach. I also want to make money, but in a more elegant way, I hope. He also said that if he could change one thing, he would change his approach toward online grading systems because they're not always accurate. Again, check the questions, in the mock test platforms against the official free ETS mock questions. Okay. They can still be useful. They definitely can still be useful as long as you know what's different and what's the same. Toy's strategy also reflects a mindset point. When she encountered difficult blanks in the complete the word section, she didn't panic. She skipped them, finished the rest, and came back later. And Deyes learned that imperfection is okay. He thought his speaking section would be a disaster, but it wasn't. Even with long pauses and fillers, he was still able to get 5.0. So let's wrap up. What do these 5 students have in common? Some studied for 1 month and some studied for only 5 days, but they all used serious practice materials and including the ETS mock tests. They also used pattern-based strategies for tasks like complete the words, build a sentence, email and academic discussion, listening and reading, and speaking. And they focused on daily speaking and writing practice instead of leaving those sections until the very end. If you're aiming for a 5.0 to 5.5 score in the new TOEFL and you don't want to waste your mock tests, I've created a new TOEFL 2026 Prep Starter Kit. Inside it, you'll find all the free official ETS practice links in one place. a simple score and timing guide, and a short 14-day plan to structure your first weeks of preparation. You can get it by joining my email list using the link in the description. And if you have already taken a mock test or the real TOEFL exam and want to share your experience, feel free to email me. Your story might help the next group of test takers. Thanks again to Fabian, Clemens, Tui, Deyes, and Adam, and thank you for watching.